everyone, and welcome to our webinar this morning. This morning, we're coming to you live from Adobe MAX, actually Adobe MAX Virtual. Our team here is actually in 7 different locations because of COVID and the new business economy. I'm Alex Killian, and I'm the video producer here on XTIVIA's marketing team. And before we dive in this morning, I would love to tell you just a bit about our company. For nearly 3 decades, we've been providing a variety of expert IT services to hundreds of businesses in countless industries. If you can imagine the business outcome, XTIVIA can create it with technology. And I also want to remind you about XTIVIA's on-demand webinar library on our website. We've been broadcasting our tech expertise in these weekly webinars for some time now, and those now all live in our on-demand webinar library. You can watch any of our previous webinars there, as well as register for upcoming webinars, which we have a few. And today, you'll be hearing from our marketing team on some of our key takeaways from Adobe MAX this year and how we were inspired over the last 3 days. We got to hear from some amazing icons like Annie Leibovitz, Stefan Sagmeister, Taika Waititi, and lots more.
Hey guys, as the manager for the team, I just feel like so grateful, thankful. Our C level supported us to enjoy Adobe MAX this year, and it just feels very gratifying. Adobe, thank you for making this available to people all over the world. This is something as a whole team we probably would not have been able to do. So just feeling really grateful, and it adds to initiatives that our company's making. This year we were certified again as a great place to work. And so continuing education, supporting our top talent, and recognition is something that we're trying to continue to boost and improve on. And so this team is amazing. I'm so thankful for them, and just feeling grateful, and wanted everybody to know like how much we appreciate this opportunity.
Well, there's a lot of different products, and all of us are kind of all over the board as far as how long we've been using them, what we do. So I guess if we want to start to speak, just like, are there any of those older products that feel completely new, or what you're most excited about?
Well, I can speak to that. I have been using Adobe products almost my whole life, and my main products that I use, Adobe Premiere Pro, I started learning almost 10 years ago now. And honestly, I think that's one thing I really love about Adobe, is that their products kind of always feel fresh now that they're cloud and updates happen fairly often. So it's kind of like every other week I open it up and it's like a kind of exciting little what's new this week. And I think it encourages keeping up with technology a lot, because with changes like so frequently, it's really like elevates the work you can do.
Yeah, Adobe really has incentivized like keeping up with their brand and keeping up with what they do. Everything feels fresh when you go back. I think the whole suite feels new too. And I think it was really interesting in this conference, you could tell that they're really going into the 3D space, because I actually came from like 3ds Max and Autodesk and things like that. And I was really impressed with those tools that they were introducing for AR and VR during this conference.
For sure. And I think I was just going to mention, they kind of sprinkled those in throughout, tons of little sessions. They're like, oh, and hey, here's some 3D for you. We're just going to pop that in there really quick. Yeah, just by the way, but let's get back to what we were talking about.
I think the funny thing for me is, like, I'm not going to cop to how long I've been an Adobe. I would call myself an evangelist, because it's been a bit of time. And there have been times that the updates I've struggled with them, because they really are moving with the pace of technology, and tools are changing based on mobile, especially iPad use. And my original was Photoshop, and so it has morphed like beyond recognition, and yet at the same time it's just providing magic for people and adding to art, life, business productivity, and on and on.
Was it Illustrator that they brought to iPad? There was something that had like never been on
Yeah.
working on it since 1980 or something. So it seems like this is
87.
yeah.
Yeah, Emily, we
Year.
both agreed, like, man, we might need iPads now.
Yeah.
Did you guys find any gaps in your skill set that Adobe Max inspired you to learn or pursue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, just huge, major gaps. I mean, I've been using Adobe products for 10 years, especially InDesign. And I kind of already knew that there were gaps there. And then going to this, I was like, wow, they're a lot bigger than I thought they were. But it was so awesome to see not only what they're adding for the 2021 version, but just they had little sessions just about showing how to do better paragraph styling and better character styling for style guides and templates. And if you didn't know what they were talking about, it would have been super dry and boring, but I was sitting here taking notes. There's exclamation marks all over my notes because I was like, oh my gosh, bullet points made easy, and stuff like that. And so, yeah, and then huge gaps in Illustrator, but I'm just so excited with the new innovations to get in there and just start practicing, working with it, experimenting. But that's for me. What about you all?
I was just going to say, you don't know what you don't know. So you get into these little niches of what you do every day if you're Photoshop or you're in Illustrator. So I think these are good professionally and personally, because you can go into a session that's all about bullet points and paragraph styling, and then you can go into 3D painting on an object that you're animating or something like that. So I guess for me, it's like, yeah, I've used Photoshop. Yeah, I've used InDesign, but like Fresco and Spark and all of these things that I've heard of but never actually looked into. This is kind of a time in your professional day to have that little window of like, wow, this is this thing that could super up level your artistic ability just in any other aspect or on your social campaign or something like that. So these are good just in general because there's such an array of sessions to go to where you're getting something out of it that you may not have even known existed, or something that you can do in your personal time that's now going to make that 10 times better. So in general, there's gaps that are being filled for me, but
Lisa,
Yeah,
I really want to hear your answer. Oh, well, I want to hear Lisa and Jamel's answer. I want to hear what you guys think. I mean, Lisa, you've been around this for a long time and you're so accomplished, in my opinion. Well, your whole team's opinion, but like, did you find gaps?
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. I had made a lot of assumptions around what was possible with a tablet or iPad. So for me, it was really insightful to see what you can do with those tools now. Like you can immediately move from your tablet to your desktop. The transfer of the file is less than 2 seconds. It blew my mind. So I'm really excited to further that in my process and my creative process, and like for myself, not just for work, but I'm excited to make more custom kind of icons and drawings, and it's just so easy now.
Oh yeah, and same with me. Like the content management capabilities, I didn't realize that they were that sophisticated and that seamless yet. And I need to learn that stuff so that I'm not just going back and forth from my devices and using just kind of archaic file structures and stuff when you could do better project management and better collaboration with their tools. And Illustrator, I thought I knew Illustrator like the back of my hand, but this guy destroyed me in like 3 minutes of his first session. I was like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and take that off my resume.
Oh, that's not true. You can't take it off your resume, but same,
No,
right?
I won't, no.
But after maybe more than 20 years of doing, and you see this and you're like just mind blown. Alex, how about you? You mentioned that a session like taught you 4 new things.
Yeah, I think Adobe's tools are extremely expansive, and so you can have worked with a program for 10 years and still be learning new things, not just because they're adding new features all the time, but there's new ways to use it as the products kind of evolve, I think. So like, for example, I learned a couple of new After Effects features that I've used for years, but haven't used in the way that they did in this session. So I think it's cool how the products kind of evolve.
Well, I definitely heard a lot of people say, I've used that over and over and over, but I didn't know that there was that keystroke or that shortcut to do it. Or, I mean, they called them these aha moments where it's like, well, I do that, but how do you do that? And just like watching other people do these intricate things, I think definitely is where that comes.
Well, and to springboard on that, we had a working session. We had a deliverable due yesterday, and we were collaborating as a team on Zoom. And I loved it because Emily said to Lisa, I feel like I'm watching an Adobe MAX session. And when she said that, I was like, I've said it before to the team, but I think this is the thing about a retreat or time away or continuing education. It re-inspires things and reminds you of those things you wanted to bring. And what I thought of was, I love watching how someone else uses the same tool, or how they grab or utilize the shortcut. And so one of my plans for the team is for us to have more continuing education moments like that, where we actually get to watch each other work, because I think it illuminates your process. Whether or not like Illustrator's your specialty, it still just illuminates your process.
That's one of the most exciting things they introduced in the conference too, the fact they're gonna do streaming and like Twitch-like tools for people who want to show their process. And I just imagine myself at least tuning in like once a day just to see someone just come up with the logo or just change some typography, and really you learn so much so quickly just from how people attack things differently than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
And you could see it in the comment stream too, just seeing like
people
just talking about how they would use things one way or another way, or like Emily mentioned, the aha moments. And I was going to ask if what were some specific new discoveries and takeaways. You kind of all just touched on that. Was there anything that you saw that you've already used that you were already stoked about for any of you, and the new features?
I mean, I'll jump in. So I had gotten a new iPad and Apple Pencil, and I'd been playing with Fresco, and another like kind of team illumination moment. I hadn't really talked a lot about it to the team because I made an assumption that they were all like there, and I knew a couple people had tablets or iPads, and so I just thought, oh, well, like you're just using this. And the thing to me in Fresco is how you can draw with vectors. And so I just thought, sometimes I'd think like processes took longer, and I thought, why wouldn't you just do that in Fresco? And I realized like, well, everybody, like, you don't know what you don't know, or you don't know what other people don't know, or what other people do know. So I think for me, I'd been playing with it, but I didn't bring it to the team. So I'm going to try to make a better effort to be like more transparent about my discoveries, even if they're redundant.
Definitely share.
Yeah, I think the same goes for Spark too. We have kind of a certain way of doing social things, and we have graphics people that will do that graphic and we'll put it on social. But I think because we have these specific tools that we literally have right here to do these things, that's same. Want to try to use Spark for those things, but
I want to start using Adobe Capture a lot more,
Yeah.
because you do it all the time. Just take a picture on your phone just to transfer some sketch or something you're doing, but to already have it in place would be better.
I think, and that was another one that I'd used on my iPhone because I had an artist in my life who needed to submit something hand-drawn. And with the iPhone tools, I knew that they could make a vector pretty immediately. But again, I'd never like carried that to the team because I just thought, oh, this is just this side project over here and they all know this. And so I think our use cases, things, requirements cause us to discover things. And so I want to get more outside the box with that and then share those discoveries.
Yeah, I've been using Photoshop for a long time, and a lot of the new features that I saw, and then also older features that got even more like pumped up with actions and scripts, just reminded me that those tools are available to really streamline your work and not have to do so many repetitive tasks. So I'm super excited to like get a few minutes back in my day, and then over time, and that'll compound to like a day in the year.
I realized some of my biggest like discoveries and takeaways, though I did like learn a lot of things in the software and the tools, but some of the things that really have stuck with me are things that maybe aren't so related to the actual software. Like one session I attended was just about making better interviews and how to like work with people better when you're doing interviews. And so yeah, that was really cool.
Well, and not to mention like inspiration. I know like we tried to attend some sessions together, and everything from the current climate of injustice, it was I mean, it is still today being reported on at the conference, and I just love Adobe's willingness. Ben and Jerry's had like it was like mind blowing. And just some of the artists that spoke about how things were for them. Mental health was addressed. An artist who came out of huge mental health issues and created a thriving business. I mean, I just feel like the social implications and the community, yeah, aside from the products, right? It just delivered. Did any of you guys have stuff like that that was impactful for you? I know we didn't talk about this in advance, really.
Yeah, I think it kind of comes down to like your virtual emotional skills, like your soft skills. It's not so much just your ability to do things technically well, it's also your ability to work with people and, create an overall end product that provides value.
Yeah, all of
Absolutely.
those smarter social storytelling segments. I mean, it might have been with a celebrity or something, but those were probably the ones I was most attentive to, just because, you can learn these things, like you said, Lisa, like technically, but where it applies, what you're actually doing with it, I mean, it's going to be different for everybody. So the people that either you already looked up to or you didn't know, or it's in the space that you're in, just, I don't know, the social storytelling in general, using these products, it was kind of a way to bring it all together. So
On that vein, what was some of the top sessions like that you guys attended? And I mean, there was a lot of personalities and like superstar artists and people in the conference. Was there anyone that really stood out for you?
For me, I think it was one of my first sessions, but they basically, I don't remember who it was, who was speaking or anything like that, but it was a marketing team that went over their rebranding of a government branch website, and not just the website, the entire outdoor recreation, and it was just incredible. And the strategy they took with their designers, their copywriters, their content creators, and their marketing team was just exceptional. And they had this just streamlined communication between designer, marketer, and bringing these ideas together, involving the community. And it inspired me to be more creative in using Adobe products, but also to consider a creative strategy while working within our organization and with our internal clients that we have. So it was really awesome. And I mentioned it earlier, but the InDesign one on the paragraph styling, that was
Those
really
bullets,
cool.
those bullet points.
Yeah, the bullets. Lisa and I could talk about it for an hour, or I would talk about it and she would listen.
I think that kind of speaks to the overall point of this that we kept hearing was collaboration and ways to make that easier. And now we're all working from home, or maybe we already were, in ways that Adobe just is going to make that so much easier. And I think we're all kind of excited for the commenting and the suggesting and things we've had on maybe Google Docs that we haven't necessarily had in our way of doing things, Ricky, creatively or something like that. But just that kind of take home message. And I think the stuff that was moving the future forward for me, like the Scantastic or the AR collaborative things, like they weren't necessarily a session, but just things that you know are going to be impactful for the future as a whole, where I would love to play an AR collaborative video game. And I mean, they're just using it for designing, but I think it's kind of like Apple, where you do one feature, but then the people that are going to take that and make it better and put it into things that you didn't think it would be in anyway. So I'm excited for that.
So Emily, you brought up the sneaks. So like, I want to hear you guys go through those. It was a kind of a general session, but man, like I think there were 10 that they previewed, and everyone, we were slacking each other like shock emojis, and like there were just so many cool things. I think I'll start with my, I mean, they were all good. I actually tweeted with hashtags for all of them because I wanted to like keep them and remember so I can go back and see when they come alive. But I think 2D plus like kind of blew my mind for Illustrator. And yeah, definitely like the capture, the Scantastic, which was a 3D capture scan. What about you guys? And if you don't remember the names, that's cool. Like just what blew your mind from those sneaks?
I think On the Beat, I think that's what it was called. And it was basically they gave someone rhythm, what I got out of it, which was just fantastic. As someone without rhythm, I'm just so excited for the future.
Yep.
Yeah, On the Beat sneak. It was a daddy that like wanted to impress his daughter.
Yeah,
so, like,
that's
that
right.
Just made it even cuter.
Well, I think all the Photoshop stuff was crazy. Just the little dragging to happy to sad to sky replacement to all that stuff is like.
Oh my gosh, those were crazy.
Yeah,
those were was like procedurally done. That was insane. And was that like a prototype, or that's like coming
That's out? People were using it.
Yeah, that's there.
Those are hard to me because I think when David Cho was speaking about like the cheating aspect, where it's like, I know even on this team, like you could make that person happy or sad and you did it all you. So I'm like teetering on that line of the future of like, now I can do that, but is it cheating?
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite sessions was like a surprise therapy session, I call it. And on that same vein of like cheating and like low-hanging fruit, Lauren Holmes' session was really good because she was really trying to like get through the fact that low-hanging fruit has a bad connotation, but just because it's easy doesn't mean it's not good or that you shouldn't do it. And she just had really good like gems of wisdom about just being an artist and finding your voice and just using stuff from your life to like use in your art whenever you're kind of unsure of what you're doing, or if you're doing anything well, just to use what you know and to like just put it out there and be confident in yourself. So hers was like really inspiring session, and surprisingly it was my favorite over the more technical stuff, which is what I usually like in conferences, but I definitely think that's a good one to check out.
I was gonna totally
That's
name
awesome.
drop. I was gonna totally name drop Lauren because it was about authenticity, right? And just bringing the real you. And yeah, that was a huge one. I feel like Alex, did you have anything like that inspired you as a film creator, a story maker?
Totally. I didn't see the one you're talking about, but my favorite, I think, was a talk that Aquafina gave. And it was in the same vein, just about what it's like to be creative and how that can feel really bad sometimes, and that we're kind of all feeling that. And just like your progression as a creative, and as long as you've like done something in a day, or even if you can't do something in a day, like that's okay. We're all like working at our own pace. And so I found that really inspiring. And then also Taika Waititi's talk was really amazing. He's a filmmaker I admire so much. And so it was cool to see him give a talk with this. But given the content of this year's Adobe MAX, what would you say are some of the most vital aspects of creativity in our current business climate?
For me, and Lisa and I talked about this earlier, not in this session, but we talked about it. The cross-platform and cross-application collaboration. I mean, they really hit that on the hit the nail on the head, and Adobe is just doing a great job with it, because, you know, I remember laying out newspapers, and you would be in InDesign and you would have to call across the room to the copy editor and be like, all right, I'm out of that page now, so you can get in and now you can start working stuff. And it was just clunky and it wasn't efficient. And now in InDesign, you can just send someone a link and they can in real time comment on stuff. They can pen stuff. They can, you know, give you all the feedback you need. And then you got it right there on your desktop in InDesign. And you can respond in InDesign. The designer can make all the changes and then just ping back, hey, I fixed that, and it's all done. And so, you know, in this remote economy where we're all across the board, everyone can work together just from the living room. And I think that's, you know, an incredibly vital aspect. And it's definitely helping with the creative process from one person to another.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about Adobe's cloud documents and also the libraries. I think having or being able to use just like one system and empower your whole team or organization is really vital. And I think Adobe's really stepped up and answered the call to, you know, the environment of 2020 and the future of work.
From a work standpoint, I just thought about how Lisa would never have to fuss at anybody for being on brand again. Like, if all the assets are there and we are just pulling from that library, she'll just be like telling us all like, good job. So, and like Emily said, like she can spark her tail off and it'll all be right on.
And I definitely heard, Alex, like you said, the same kind of repeating thing of just do it. Like the day's going to be different. We're all kind of in the same place every day, home from work to your personal life. It's just, if you get stuck in that rut or you're, you know, trying to do something professionally, is just to do it. And I know our team has a lot of issue. We want it to be perfect, but we want it done, or we have a short deadline. So we have to kind of balance, do we want it perfect or do we want it done? And just kind of like the overall theme that I kept hearing is it's stuff is hard right now. So if you can at least just do it, or just hit publish, or just do the thing that you're not sure about. And I don't know, there was definitely like a theme for the inspirational sessions that I went to, and just do it.
Send it.
Send it.
Yeah, someone from yesterday mentioned that if you at least do 70% good, the world will see it probably as 95%. And it's more important to be consistent than to have something perfect.
Amen.
Hard
Deliver,
lesson.
deliver.
Yeah.
We know about that with our XTIVIA webinars.
Do it.
Consistency, that is.
Well, I mean, and it has been a tough year. And again, like I shouted out to the team, because just what we've delivered in this economy, like, I don't know if anybody really gets it. It's amazing. And so, and I mean, we get to hear that back from a lot of people in the organization, but just like, I guess, encouragement to those of you out there that are doing creative and marketing and business. Like, they appreciate you. They're just having their hard time. Like, you know, we never know what somebody else is going through. And I just think if I'm juggling like these 10 projects, the person above me is juggling those plus all the others. And so just, yeah, trying to be kind to ourselves, definitely.
Did you guys hear anything during the conference that you didn't agree with?
Lisa, will you answer your own question? Because you kind of started us down that road, and I was like right with you.
One of the sessions I attended talked about how creatives should only be given the initiative to be creative and to remove friction around kind of technical requirements. But I find that sometimes you need a break. Like, it's hard to always be on, so sometimes the ability to do research will inspire the creative like path for me. So having the time and taking the time to do that is important.
Yeah, I agree. Like ideally, I have two projects. One super creative, and I like painstakingly like just think about it all the time and try to like come up with something cool and creative and cool twice. And the other project is something almost meticulous and almost monotonous because I'm like doing some Excel data stuff while my brain in the background is still working the creative problem. And I think it's like a break, but you're still moving something forward. So you still have that kind of gratification at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a fine line because, you know, you watch all these sessions about doing all these cool things and you should just be creative. And then you go back and you're just going to have to do a data sheet for that software for the next week. And there's kind of, again, that line we're walking of there's really cool things that we could be doing. And I watched the session on how there's now a charcoal brush, you know, for my portraiture that I'm going to do, but I'm still going to go back and have to find joy in that paragraph typing that we're really excited about, Ricky. So I think that's the hard part about these conferences is it is a creative space and there are people that are here just because, and there are freelancers, but then there are people like us where we're in a corporate setting and we are doing softwares and data sheets and ebooks and things like that and kind of just bringing in the things that you learned and finding new ways to do this and still bring creative, but still kind of around the parameters that you're given.
Yeah, and it was cool. And there's just an ebb and flow throughout the whole conference. You go into like a really creative session where, I think it was Nika Jones and her artwork, and it was just very inspiring and incredible. And then my next session was like, tweaking logo design. So you're in these where it's your personal life and then your vocational life, and so it's a lot of ups and downs and definitely a separation there.
Alex, I can see you nodding. You need to like jump in on that.
Well, I just really appreciate that about Adobe, how much crossover there is for me personally with like my very creative projects and then my more like business focused projects. I'm like living in all the same software for all of it. So there's something about just using like After Effects that makes me feel creative and inspires that even when I'm doing something more business focused and less just like let's play around and create,
That's good. I mean, I think of all the isms, name dropping again. I know we try to keep our live sessions and webinars around 40 minutes so that they like don't put anybody to sleep. But I think for us as a team, like this has been a good collaborative. But to name drop again, there was a session with Anthony Jones, and he is an artist, but he also and he stated that he finds like his real inspiration in teaching others and inspiring others. And I think that, vocation and personal or creation, it's kind of like that. Like, you're doing the thing you need to do. And I mean, in this business climate, we are all like super thankful to be working and to be turning out, ebooks and business side webinars. but I think that like looking at it like they're like two slices for you, you know, the thing that you're doing vocationally, and sometimes they cross over. Like sometimes you'll learn something and use it in one of your creative applications in your personal life. But I heard a lot of the people that are working, not necessarily freelancers, but doing jobs and being creatives, right? Inspiring that crossover. Did you guys hear more of that and feel inspired by that?
I'd say the crossover for me showed up in, like Ricky was talking about, the diversity of the sessions. Like I would see one that was really inspiring, someone talking about their creative process, and then I would join like a super technical session about color grading. And so that's where that came out for me.
I mean, I went to a lot of the social campaign stuff, and there's, I mean, the graphics you do is very creative, but there's only so much creativity you can have with algorithms and ways to post and what time to post. So I think there's a way to bring in, you know, how we do these the right way and the best way and on brand, and then kind of bringing in maybe the ways that you can graphically or whatever to do the creative side and do both. But
Emily, in one of those, I saw like them talking about how for B2B, which we are, it's hard to like have a lot of a playful attitude. But one company talked about taking their employees and kind of doing something in Instagram around like what breakfast looks like, or you know how they're schooling, or like what their favorite workout is, or you know things like that. So I guess I felt like that you don't know what you don't know, like how we could get outside the box and still utilize a platform that's not a B2B platform necessarily, but bring interest to recruiting, telling people why it's great to work here, you know, and also showcasing some of our people that like make the magic for XTIVIA.
I think that's a great reason why we did this, because every webinar you ever see is this team, but you never get to see all of us kind of do it. So I don't know. I think there's a good way to bring the personal aspect of your business, the people behind it, the things that you're doing, the philanthropy, whatever that looks like, and just kind of still showcase what you're doing and then who you are. So
I guess I need to ask you guys, out of this year's release, what are you most excited to try out? So I know Emily wants to put smiles on things that are frowning. What else do you guys want to try out from the releases that you saw in the general sessions and or specific sessions?
I think for me, content aware fit, where you can just place images easily and you're not constantly resizing and moving them around in InDesign. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I took a session on logo design in Illustrator, and I'm gonna try and improve my skills there. So that's those two I'm really excited about.
yeah, those AIs, they're coming.
Oh yeah.
For work, I'm excited to build out some libraries and explore what we can do with cloud documents. And then for my personal work, I'm really excited to play more with Adobe Fresco.
Yay to both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Fresco and of course Illustrator stuff. I really like the repeat pattern tool, which is a simple nerdy thing, but I could just imagine all these fun things I could do with it, you know, like shirts and hats and fun stuff.
I'm excited to try out this new color grading workflow that I learned from a few of these sessions. Just want to like go through all of the old videos I've produced for XTIVIA and redo the color. Not really, but I'd like to. And then also some of the 3D features in After Effects that I have been working with a long time and just kind of clicked in a new way for me in one of the sessions.
Awesome.
How about you, Deborah?
You know, I feel kind of stuck. I think probably the thing I'm most excited about is what you guys are going to do with the new features. I have to say, Alex, for the interviews, the on-screen interviews, I'm excited to see what you're going to do with that. I didn't know how to say some of the things they said in that session that I wanted to say to you, because that's not what I do, but I knew what I wanted. So I saw really opportunities to kind of, if you guys will, let me maestro with the baton some of the things that I've been thinking we could do, but not knowing how to articulate. So I think the interview sessions for you, like you said, color grading and just like up leveling some video stuff. Lisa's libraries, I'm so psyched about that. Ricky having InDesign flow that's different. Emily using Spark and having a new lease on social for us. And then, I mean, Jamel is here as an accomplished designer, but getting the marketing side. So I think he's probably going to get to have a dance through all of these tools, and what we decide to do with them in, XTIVIA's business collaboration. So I can't say there's one for me. I just think it's watching you guys do the magic with the tools that I saw Adobe present.
Awesome. Well, I think that's about all the time we have. We went a little over 40 minutes, but I think we were all just having fun talking about Adobe. And there's a few more sessions today I think we all want to join, so we're going to get going and get to those. But thank you so much for joining us for our little webinar this morning. And as a reminder, all of our webinars are on our website in our on-demand webinar library. And so make sure you go check those out. And every Thursday at 10 a.m., you can expect to see us up here with a new webinar. So thanks so much. Thanks to the team. You guys are all awesome. And have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.